When the apps we are building need data from somewhere else, another server, they need to request that data. The most common way to send these requests is by using HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP contains different types of requests that we can send, and if we are following typical REST standards, each type of request is used to perform a different CRUD operation on data. It will either create, read, update, or delete data, hence the acronym CRUD. These different types of requests are known as HTTP verb methods, and the four most common methods are GET, POST, PUT, and DELETE. Let's take a look at how these relate to each CRUD operation. So anytime that we send a HTTP POST request, we should typically expect a resource to be created. A GET request will read a resource or a group of resources. So we're pulling data from a server to display to the client. An update, as the name implies, will update a resource, so make changes to an existing resource. And delete should delete a resource. Now, when we send a request, that's going to be a network request to a server from a client, so from our computer to a server. For a GET request, that typically is just a request for data, and that data will come back. There's not going to be a payload associated with that. When I say a payload, that is a text, typically JSON, that describes what we want the request to do in further information. For a GET request, we're typically going to say something like, hey, give me the user with an ID of 32. So we get back the user data. A POST request on the other end and an update request are going to have a payload associated with them. And that payload is going to have information saying what to create. So if we're creating a new user, sending a POST request to create a new user, that payload may include information like a username, a password, or any other user data. An update request would contain a payload with the information that needs to be updated on the existing resource. A delete is going to be similar to a GET and not typically include a payload. We send HTTP methods to perform our CRUD operations on REST resources.